Touchdown or Turnover is backed by Alcoa Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong. For our listeners today, hit up the text box, hit up our chat box there on YouTube and on Facebook Live. I think y'all have a pretty good idea of how we feel. But I want to know how you feel. So today's touchdown turnover will be all from the responses we get from you, either on text box, either on YouTube chat live, the comment section on Facebook Live, or on Twitter. The touchdown turnover for you that you feel better. You feel better about Josh Heupel and company today than you did a month ago, or 2 months ago, or even when he was hired. But do you feel better today? Because during that time, you've gotten some transfers, you've had guys leave the program, you got a chance to watch the orange and white game. There was a Saturday where practice was open. You've follow the coverage from Knoxville media, whether it's the pay sites or, well, all of them feel like pay sites now, but you follow Knoxville media. You feel better today. Touchdown or turnover is the question for our fans. I think our number one thing you guys could probably hear from us that, yeah, I mean, it's, feel better. But I want to hear from you. Touchdown turnover is backed by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, the place where you belong. Better weights and better service. Ballstorm says, turnover, I need on-field proof. You feel the same as you did a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, Ballstorm? The exact same? Okay. All right. Mike in North Georgia says touchdown, 100%. He feels better. Just better. Not saying you go out and buy season tickets or go out and buy $1,000 worth of new wardrobe or anything like that, but just better. Just better. Always Vol says touchdown. I'm still not on board, but he has to start to build things back, and he has those excited and looking like they are bonding as a team. Guys, it ain't about you being on board or not. It's just, do you feel better? That's it. That's it. You don't have to be on board and still feel better. And I don't even know what on board and not on board even means. Like, what does that even mean? But just, do you feel better? Or do you feel worse? There's only two ways you can feel. You feel better or worse. It's hard to feel the same. But better or worse. That's really all the question. Just touchdown turnover, do you feel better? And if you don't, just say turnover. But if you do, it's touchdown. You don't have to be on board. Just really, honestly, there's not a reason for you to be on board like right now. We haven't played a game yet. We had an orange and white game, but I understand that you may not be on board. But that's not the question. The question is, do you feel better? Chad Ray says, I don't feel anything. I'm a battered Vol fan. I'm waiting for the results on the field. I felt better with all these garbage coaches. I felt better with all these garbage coaches at some point. Brazil Vol says, I feel better with them. Papa T, that is Vol Nation, says, I feel better due to the recruiting, transfer, and the culture being curated, the positive vibes of the staff, listening to the players, and just hearing the heart and passion of Coach Hype when he talks. Tina R says, touchdown, but time will tell. Sandy Vol says, touchdown. Yeah, I feel like it's only two options. I feel like you only get better or worse. You only feel better or you feel worse. That's what I feel like. I think it's kind of hard to feel the same when you see stuff going on, but that's just me. I think it's hard to feel the same. But if you feel the same, say you feel the same. If you feel worse, I don't know how you feel worse, but say you feel worse. If you feel better, you feel better. I personally think it's either better or worse. Again, you can be not on board but still feel better. I think that's realistic. I think it's realistic. Kappa Man 3 says touchdown, talent improvement at the most important position, quarterback. That's all you need right there, Kappa Man. Quarterback is upgraded. Feeling better. Justin says, oh, Will and Megan getting married tomorrow. Both VFLs. And Will was in the Pride of the Southland Band, and she was a majorette. So, Will and Megan, congratulations on your marriage tomorrow, and that's how you do it right there. That's how you do it, Will. You marry someone that you don't have to convert over. She already understands the deal. She gets it. There you go. That's how you do it, Will. Congratulations. Congratulations, my friend, on the marriage. Touchdown, we are getting what we need from a roster standpoint, and that is bringing up my confidence level in a couple areas. Turkey Man said the baseball team makes me feel better. All right. That's how you see it. Tramel says, touchdown, I feel good. When we hired them, now I feel a bit better. They seem the most organized that I've ever seen. Remember, we didn't have this coverage from Former and everything after that. So, yes, it's definitely seem more organized from the top down. I just want to reiterate. The question is not to hype you up, to make you think that, man, Tennessee is back and Josh Heupel is going to be the next Urban Meyer. That's not the question. There's no reason turning it into that. Change the narrative, move the goalposts. It's simple. Do you just feel better? That's it. That's it. Certainly, I'm in a different position than some other folks. I play here. I do radio here. And, of course, if I can help any way I can, I will, as long as it doesn't compromise what I do. And so, like I feel better, but I don't know what would be on board for me. Like, what does on board mean for me? I don't know. Like, what does on board mean for you? I don't even know what on board honestly means. I'm going to go to the games. I'm going to continue to talk about Tennessee because it's my job. If my school needs some help, and it doesn't compromise, what I do for a living, I'm going to help, and I've done that ever since I've been out of school. So I've really never been off board. Like I've always been on board, I guess.
Wouldn't off board mean that you're no longer a fan?
I guess. That's what I'm asking. I don't even know what on board, off board means for folks who are even using it. I'm off board. Well, if you're off board, are you not a fan anymore, or you just? I mean, what does that even mean? I don't even know. It's weird. It's weird to me. I think like maybe you mean like if you're off board, you're not going to any games. You're not, does that mean you're not buying any more UT gear? Like, what does that even mean? Oh, man. Jamestown Russ says, what if we had Dobbs with Heupel? Whew. Heupel will have a whole lot easier of a first year than Pruitt. That's what we would say.
Tennessee would have enough wins to go to a bowl game. They would not go to a bowl game.
We're talking freshman Dobbs or like sophomore Dobbs? What Dobbs we're talking about here?
I imagine Jamestown Russ is referring to the good Josh Dobbs, the veteran Josh Dobbs. That Josh Dobbs is the quarterback of the team. You beat Pittsburgh. I think you have a really good chance of beating Ole Miss. That Ole Miss defense, Dobbs would throw for 500 and run for 500 against that Ole Miss defense. Sure would be nice.
They got a message for you over here, Ben. Brandon B wants to know if you're going to attend Kayvon Bennett's, a.k.a. Squid's going away party on the Strip. I heard he dropped an album. Y'all going to check it out. Said Brandon says, Swain, you're probably too old.
I can't say that I will be attending Squid's going away party at Studio X. I don't prefer to hang out with drug dealers, so I will not be in attendance.
It's probably a good life lesson there, Ben. Bad things can happen when you hang out with people who sell drugs.
I will give him props though. Squid is a much better rapper name than Pooh Shiesty. So at least he don't have the word poo in his rap name. I just can't imagine trying to come up with a rap name and, oh yeah, Pooh. Let's put Pooh in my name.
I don't know Squid's that much better. It's better, but I don't know about how much. What you gonna say? Hey man, you better get out of my face. I'm gonna squirt this ink in your face. And we squirt this ink on you like a real squid. That's how we do it. But it's better than Pooh Shiesty. Yeah. Anything is better than Pooh.
In your name is just. But no, I will not be in attendance for Kayvon Bennett's going away party.
John K says, going back to yesterday, I learned yesterday that the girl I've been dating for a month is an Auburn fan. I guess I'm joining Auburn, War Eagle. Just kidding. Screw Auburn. John K, I got questions, sir. You just learned yesterday, after a month of dating, that she was an Auburn fan? Bro, you should have asked that on the first date. That's a first date question. All right, are you a convicted felon? Okay, no. You got kids? No. I think once you hit a certain level, I think you need to start asking about credit scores too. That's important too. Like when you're young, that stuff don't matter. But when you get older, you dating in your like late 30s and 40s, what's your credit score? What's your credit score? If your credit score is good, we can go on a second date. These are very important questions. Crazy boyfriends. You having crazy boyfriends? Have you been married before? Are they in jail? Like those are important questions. And then after that, what's your favorite college football team? I need to know that on the first date.
I don't even think it's a first date question. That is a first conversation type of question. Obviously, when you slide into the DMs, you're trying to pull out your best lines and put on your best moves to impress her, to try and get the phone number. That's if it is over social media. That is,
John K didn't do it the old-fashioned way. He probably used Tinder or something.
Tinder. Yeah, so that is after you get past the trying to get her number part, if it is over social media, then you have to. That's like first type of conversation. So, do you like sports? Okay, what teams do you root for?
I think it's also important that she got kids.
Yes.
That's important too.
Are you willing to be a stepdaddy?
Because if I take you on a first date I need to know how much I'm gonna pay on the first date. It's a difference between, $40, $50 between me and you, or it depends on what restaurant it is, $100, and then you trying to take to-go plates. Can I get a to-go chicken nugget, chicken finger meal? I need 2 or 3 of those. Wait a minute. You got 2 or 3 kids at the house? Oh, no. That changes the whole game, the whole dating game. How are you out with me? Well, they with the dad this weekend. Oh, no. No, sir. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Joe gets it. Met my wife in Alabama. First 15 minutes of our first conversation, I asked if she was an Alabama fan. She resoundingly said no.
There you go, Joe.
Now we've been married for 18 years.
That's the first conversation. Are you a Bammer? Don't look like you. Got teeth. All right, let's go on a second date. John K., I want to know, how did you get the first date? Did you meet her at church? Did you meet her at the gas station? Did you meet her in a grocery store? Was it a friend hookup? Your friend and her friend just hooked y'all up? Hey, I have a friend that, she might want, you might want to go out with. She like Janet Jackson. She like Janet Jackson, more like Fred Jackson. How did it happen, John K.? Or did you get on Tinder? Huh, John K.? How did you get this first date? I want to know. Valchi says being on board sounds like a bandwagon fan.
I agree.
I don't.
Like, how do you go from being on board to off board if you're a fan of a team? I agree. It's kind of bandwagon-y to me. You can be in wait and see mode. You can be slow to buy in. You can do all those things, but still be on board, because at the end of the day, the goal is for Tennessee to win, and you're always on board with Tennessee winning. To me, when you're off board, off board is not caring about the result of the game on Saturdays. That's what off board is.
And the Bulls. It's me and the Bulls. I'm off board. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's me and the Bulls.
You being off board with the Bulls, you don't really care anymore.
I'm done.
At all. I don't want to speak for you, but
I'm done. No, I've said it.
You don't care what happens with the Bulls.
Nope.
On any given day of the year. You don't care whether they win or lose.
Nope.
You don't care what they do in the draft or what trades. Or now, if they traded for Damian Lillard tomorrow, you'd be back on the Bulls. You'd be back on board.
Only for Dame.
But that to me is off board. When you are off board, you are just completely done with being a Tennessee fan.
I think I have it, Ben. When you're a fan, you're really never off board. Like, you're never off board. You're not off board. You're always connected some way, somehow, emotionally. Mm-hmm. When you're on board, your seats just change. That's all. When you are gun-ho and you are super excited, emotionally you're locked in, you're invested, your seat is just more in the front of the bus. But you're never off board. Even when you're not happy. When you're unhappy, you're still on board. You just sit at the back. You're just not excited. But you're still on the bus. It's the big-ass Tennessee bus. And all of us are on board. Whether you like it or not, you're on board. You're just sitting in the back. The very back. You're not talking to anybody. You ain't happy. You're not enthusiastic. You're not buying tickets. You're not going to the games. You're not watching the games. But you're still on board. Because you know why I know you're on board? Because you're still talking about Tennessee.
Yes. You're listening to this show. I would like to think that we have many listeners who aren't Tennessee fans that listen. That we do have a couple. They've called in and said that they're a Florida fan, Georgia fan. I think we had an LSU fan. We do have an LSU fan that listens as well. But if you're listening to this show, there's a 98% chance that you're a Tennessee fan. So if you are a Tennessee fan, or even if you're off board and you're kind of done with Tennessee, I don't know how you could honestly keep listening to the show. If you're listening to the Swain event, you're still on board with Tennessee.
Even if you don't listen to the show, I see people on Twitter, and I don't engage with them. You know, I've talked to them before. I just sit there and watch. Every day, they talking ish about Tennessee football. Every other day, they're complaining about where we are, which is a valid complaint. They still throwing shade at Jerry Garantano. He been gone months. They upset that the new staff is trying to be positive. They mad at the new staff. I'm not on. Show me first. Okay, whatever. You're on board. You know why? Because you're still talking about Tennessee. You're on board. You're just sitting in the back of the bus. That's all. You're not at the front with Vol Nation. You're not at the front of Vol Nation.
Shoving coal.
Getting things going. This is Vol Nation all the time. New coach, old coach, ugly coach, good coach, bad coach. This is Vol Nation. This is his personality.
He literally had a comment on the text box at the top of the hour that says, "Now y'all see what I'm talking about." I'm trying to see if we can find it. Text box is bumping. Papa T. He brought up the hype train. He said, "Oh, now y'all know what. Now y'all know what it means to be on the hype train all the time." Something along those lines.
But that's Vol Nation's personality. Like he's just enthusiastic and excited about everything that he does.
All in, all the time.
That's him, and that's ain't nothing wrong with that. But don't try to make Vol Nation seem like he is, a less than better fan than you may be just because you say that you ain't on board. You're lying to yourself.
Now
you on board. We all are on board. Because when you're off board, you don't talk about Tennessee all the time. Tennessee is not, they don't dominate your conversation with other Tennessee fans. The truth is you just hurt because you care. You're not off board.
And you have a right to be hurt.
You're on board. Exactly. You on board. That's the conclusion of the show.
No longer being a Tennessee fan.
Correct. Off board means you are like me with Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. I'm done. I haven't watched one Bull game. I haven't cared about one highlight. I'm done. I'm cool. Jordan left 25, 30 years ago. He was the reason why I was a Bulls fan. I'm done.
Papa T, a.k.a. Vol Nation. Remember, Vol Nation is trying to adopt Papa T because he's soon to be a grandfather. But Papa T in South Carolina said, "Now y'all get why I never get off the hype train. I'm always on board with my Tennessee family."
The truth is, Vol Storm is on board. He's just sitting in the back. And guess what?
He's just bitter.
I'm on board too. And I'm sitting at the back with you as a fan. I really am. I'm in wait and see mode. I'm not thrilled about everything that I've seen. You got to think about the stuff that y'all know and how you feel. Imagine how I feel with all the stuff that I know that ain't even public. That's happened over the last couple of years. So, yeah, I'm not happy and thrilled, but I did put on my orange this morning when I went to Kroger this morning. I got up super early, went to Kroger. Man, that's the best way to grocery shop right there, man. That is the best way. Oh, man, in and out, that's the best way. But I'm always going to be on board. That doesn't mean I'm going to be happy. That doesn't mean I'm going to just accept a ish sandwich if it's served to me. That does not mean I'm not going to call out what's going wrong. That does not mean that I won't hold people accountable if they need to be held accountable. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be mad and disappointed if we lose a game. That doesn't mean that. Let's go to the phones.
Rusty and then Turkey Man.
Rusty, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, Rusty?
Well, man, I'm great. It's almost the weekend. The Vols won last night.
Man, did they?
And, hey, we got a Final Four team playing some really good tennis. I'm on board.
You always been on board, Rusty.
I am. But in the defense of those who say stuff like on and off, it's not a matter that they don't still love to see you're right. They may be in the back of the bus, but really the on and off board thing is individually to each program, and it's your belief in that program at the moment is the on or off board. It's a difference between believing and hoping.
Gotcha.
Believing is thinking the way we did going into Florida when we knocked them off in 16. We believed that season. We were all on board because we thought we could win every ball game we played. We didn't. We went through that stretch where, good God, the SEC gave us a no-luber situation. But there's been a bunch of years, like going into last year and the year before and the year before, and every year basically except 16, that it's all been hope. And we're all kind of like halfway in the pool, halfway out of the pool. So that's really what it's about. It's how confident you are in that we have somebody that's going to be great to go watch, to really get behind, and to let our walls down, let our apprehensions go, and say, yeah, we believe.
Gotcha.
Off board is the way we thought. That's what it really means to me, because I know a lot of people that are like, I'm there. I want us to be great. I think we can, but I just don't believe we can.
Gotcha.
And as of right now, I think everybody's more in the hoping stages with the football program, with the new staff, et cetera.
Gotcha.
With
gotcha.
Basketball, going into last year, we were all on board fully. We all believed. And had things went a few different ways, whatnot. Tony Vitello, we're all on board. I don't think anybody who cares the least little bit about baseball isn't fully on board with TV and what he's doing over there, and with Evan Russell, Max by God Ferguson. We're on board with those kids. And for those of you out there listening that aren't on board, get on board. Get on board with this tennis team, this golf team. We got some good programs over there doing good stuff.
And earlier I asked, like, what does on board mean? Because I truly did not understand how people interpreted what being on board is, and you just cleared that up from your point of view. It's about the confidence level. Confidence wise, you're on board with what's going on, what you're seeing, and when you're off board, it's because you don't have any confidence. Now that makes perfect sense.
That's it. It's the difference between hope and belief.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I'm hopeful for the season. I don't know that I believe it's going to be great, but I'm hopeful we can win 6-7 ball games and go to a good ball game and get things rolling right, and that Milton comes in and is a miracle worker somehow, and that Heupel can make this receiving core and one of these quarterbacks great. I hope like heck, but I don't know that I believe it yet. So I don't know that I can say that I'm fully on board. I'm on board with the idea, but
that makes sense.
I think that's the way. I think that's the way most of us are. That
makes perfect sense right there. Man, I appreciate you sharing that with us.
All right, man. Love you guys.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much.
Well, and Rusty, and to your point about all the other sports that are doing well, that's what not John Curry, that's what Danny White meant when.
Dang, you gonna offend Danny White like that? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. That is a huge offense. My apologies, Danny. Please come back on the show. Don't knock the Swain event down the pedestal because of my ignorant comment. That's what he meant. I can't remember who he told. It might have been to VolQuest when Brent Hubbs did his sit down. But whenever it was that Danny White said that, he didn't realize how good a shape the entirety of the athletic department was actually in, because football shapes so much of the view of the entire athletic department. And outside of football, the Tennessee athletic department is in a really good spot. There's a lot of really good things going on. It's just unfortunate that the cash cow, the breadwinner, the program that paints the picture for the rest of the athletic department is the one that is down. It's like I was talking to a friend earlier this week, and they were asking about Tennessee baseball and said, when did Tennessee baseball become so good? And we were talking, and about the SEC tournament and NCAA tournament, and Tennessee has a legit chance to win a national championship. And they made the comment, well, I'm glad Tennessee can be good in something. And that irritated me. And I quickly came back with, well, Tennessee's good at a lot of things, great at a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's just that the one thing that people care about the most, the one thing that shapes the entire university, not even the athletic department, the thing that shapes the entire university, the entire town, the entire state, is the thing that is in the worst position. But there's a lot of great things about Tennessee.
No, you're right. You're right, Rusty. Good stuff from you. Good stuff, man. Eddie in Charlotte says, I'm much more impressed with Heupel now than when he was hired. Yeah, me too. 423 Josh says, I feel like on board is more about the coaching staff and coach than the program. Always on board with the program, possibly off board with the coach. Means, but it all means you're on board with the program and the staff. But all it means you're on board with the program and staff, and I am all in. That's 423 Josh. Okay. Jay Black says, I think the question was about Heupel. They wasn't saying you know they were on or off board with UT, but more so than that, they weren't bought in or sold on Heupel yet. The coach staff, not Tennessee. All right. So it's more about the staff being on board with the staff. Man, that's a tough sell for me, because like I feel like and maybe this might be just a personal preference here. I feel like when someone is new, I give them a chance, or I'm on board with them until they prove me wrong or give me a reason not to be. Where some others are, even if it's my school, you're coming in and you know you have a clean slate. Some folks are like, well, I'm not going to be on board with you until you prove me that you deserve it. I just feel like if at the end of the day, if you're a Tennessee fan, someone that's new with a clean slate should get that benefit of the doubt at first. Now, if they prove that they don't deserve it, then you be off board. So, like, I'll give you an example. Lane Kiffin, Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, Jeremy Pruitt, Josh Heupel, when they all first came here, like, I was on board because they were the coach of the program that I love so dearly and played for, and so they had a clean slate. As time went by, and either the results on the football field or things that happened off the football field with how they led determined whether or not I was on board with them. But at the beginning, I was like, hey, man, I'm gonna ride with you until you give me a reason not to. Some people do it in reverse. Not saying it's wrong, but I don't understand how folks would do that. Jeffrey Moore says, I've always been on board at some level. I love it all. Football, baseball, track and field, doesn't matter. I still cuss them with love, though. We all do that now. That's why we wasn't too mad at Kate Mays when he did it, because we've all said worse about our school, right? Let's go back to the phones this morning. Turkey Man, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Hope you guys have a good weekend.
You too.
And by the way, I believe it's being mentioned, John Kerry. Kind of ironic that two teams that's doing really good at the moment, he's the one that hired them, the tennis coach and the baseball coach.
Yeah, he 2 for 2 on that one.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure. And Dave Hart hired Rick Barnes. So, I mean, previous ADs have done a really good job hiring.
He's talking about
what about
on board. Well, I think Rusty said it best when he said that. But back when I was coaching high school baseball, one of my teams, our first time that they'd been able to reach into the playoffs and an opportunity to play play for state, we won the game we had to. And after the end of it, my catcher, he looked at me, and I was calm. And I gave me a drink of water. I was just watching them going crazy, and just enjoying it. He said, "What's wrong, Coach?" He says, "You always up on top." He says, "You ought to be out there doing cartwheels right now." I said, "My job's done right now. I'm enjoying what you guys are doing, and I'm focused on who we got to play next, pitching rotation, so on and so forth." I said, "That's my job." But we all carry a different direction how we approach things.
Mm-hmm.
If we look and we see that improvement can be made, which I could say that about the baseball team after watching it, some things that was concerning me that I feel like need to be fixed. Is the situational baseball, pitcher's responsibility, different, first baseman responsibility when the ball's hit. Some confusion there would help, be better, correct the problems. But when we do that, a lot of people think we're being negative when we're wanting to be the very best we can be and improve to be all you can be. And it's so easy. The next game who we're taking on, I treat the coaches say, one game at a time. Because get through that one and then focus on this one. And the first thing you do as a coach is, and in that direction, you start looking at your next opponent and how you match up your weaknesses. But anything, I think Rusty hit it right on the head, and go Vols, and hope you get to watch some of the baseball this weekend. By the way, how we got to stream it? How can we watch it?
You have to stream it tonight at 7:00 Eastern, and then tomorrow's game at noon will be on TV on the SEC Network.
All right, that's cool. All right, how about Sunday? The Sunday game, it was just last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it's the last weekend of the regular season.
Yeah. How did they come out last night? I didn't get the score.
They won 10-4.
That's cool. All right. How's the pitching? Gonna be good?
Last night or the upcoming?
No, I mean, were they able to save arms?
Yes, they were. Chad Dallas was awesome. Pitched into the 8th inning, and then Sean Hunley came in and threw 25, 30 pitches and closed it out. So only had to use one arm out of the bullpen. It was the most important arm out of the bullpen, but he didn't throw a ton, and I would imagine he's available for one more game this weekend, whether it's today or tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one, guys. God bless you.
You sure that's it, Turkey Man?
Hey, what?
You sure you good?
I'm good.
All right.
What I missed something?
No, I mean, like 3 times you were like, all right, I'm out of here. Oh, wait a minute. What about Sean? What about Hunley and them?
Yeah, I'm going on this. I'll see you.
All right, Turkey Man. Much love, man. Have a good weekend. Well, one more thing now. What about who you think we're going to play in the tournament? Wait, who you think going to be the first pitcher in the tournament? How you think Tony Vitello feeling right now? All right, that's it. One more thing. All right, let's get to Lisa in Charlotte. Lisa, good morning.
Hey, how are you guys?
What's up, Lisa? Good morning. Great. How are you?
Good morning. Good. I actually called in the proper way this time. Last time I called on the app, and then I kept hearing you guys in the background, and I couldn't, do things the way I wanted to. So I'm like, I'm just going to call in the right way this time.
1% better. 1% better.
So I am calling because I wanted to comment on, being on board and, or not on board and so forth. I am a Vols fan by marriage for 33 years. So a long time. I love the Vols. Lots of orange gear and whatnot. Many weekends of, we plan everything around the games and this and that. So this is how I am. I mean, I get frustrated when, the football program kind of goes downhill. So I'll be on board. I mean, I'm always on board, but I'm going to use this analogy. I'll be on the bus, but then maybe if we're making a stop, I might get off for a little while and then come back because I'll get mad because, they'll do something crazy. And, I get frustrated and I'll, stop listening to sports radio for a few days, and I have to kind of recoup and, generate, I guess, so that I can be a good fan again. So with Heupel, I would say I'm going to, give him a chance. He doesn't seem crazy. I mean, when he has his press conferences and so forth, he seems like he makes sense, that he knows football. I mean, just from all outward appearances. So I'm going to give him a chance, and, let's see how we do this year. If we win, like somebody said, 6 or 7 games, that's sort of what I'm expecting. I mean, I'm not expecting a miracle, obviously, because we need to really get more people, on the team that can help us win. But I'm hoping for some high-scoring games and some offense. So I'm going to give it a shot. So that's my take on it.
I love it, Lisa. Thank you so much. And I was thinking when Lisa was sharing that with us, Rick Barnes, Tony Vitello, when they were entering their first year, how did people feel? Like, were folks feeling the same way? Like, hey, man, it's this guy's 0-0. We know how people feel about Rick Barnes now and Tony Vitello now, and both guys have a chance to say at the end of this baseball season that they have both won National Coach of the Year. I mean, both guys could have that opportunity. Rick Barnes already done it. Tony Vitello certainly should be in the conversation, but
it'll be highway robbery if he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, but the first year they were here, it's easy to be like, yeah, I was on board. I was on board when they first got here. Now it's easy to say that, but why shouldn't Josh Heupel get the same chance that a Rick Barnes or a Tony Vitello got when they first got here? Is all I'm saying. Josh Heupel 0-0. He's done everything right so far. Rick Barnes, before he coached his first game, was 0-0. Tony Vitello, before he coached his first game, was 0-0.
Heck, and more people were talking about Tony Vitello's looks than they were him as an actual baseball coach.
There it is.
And yeah.
There it is.
And
that's the reason.
I think there was the most hope with Rick Barnes because you knew what he did at Texas. But and I think also the thing with Josh Heupel is how much more excitement would there be had Tennessee been able to hire James Franklin from Penn State? Although I think Heupel's more proven than Lane Kiffin as a head coach, how much more excitement would there be with Lane Kiffin, the Coastal Carolina coach whose name's slipping my mind off the top of my head, Jamie Chadwell, Hugh Freeze? There would be a lot more excitement. So it's not like Coach Heupel in the eyes of the public because he's not as well known. He wasn't a home run hire, so there's a little more hesitancy.
Yeah. And this whole conversation started from a touchdown turnover, which was simple. Do you just feel better today than you did a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? That's all. And then it kind of turned into, someone had mentioned something about being on board or being off board. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, what does it mean to be on board or off board? And then Rusty came in with a great phone call and kind of explained from his perspective what it meant, and pointed to the confidence level with maybe a particular staff or something like that, whether or not you're all on board or off board. But generally, like, we're all on board as Tennessee fans, but it just means your confidence level and things like that. So that was a great explanation from Rusty's side of it. I think Rusty spoke for a lot of people. So good stuff by Rusty. All right, let's go back to the phones. Get to Big Orange Mac. Big Orange Mac, good morning.
Good morning, Jay Swizzle. Good morning, Benjamin. Look at here, people. If you still wearing T-shirts and still got Rocket Top as your ringtone, and yeah, you might be a little pissed off at them for some of the mess that went on, you still on board.
You on board,
and
man.
If you done took your gear and done threw it in the fire pit or sold it at a yard sale and you done, you off board.
Yeah.
Period. All right? So, you always on board. until you decide that one day I'm done with these sorry jokers, then you off board. Now, my opinion on Josh Heupel right now, I'm a little bit impressed. He addressed the issues that I was most concerned about. Now, everybody was worried about who's the quarterback. Folks, we need linebackers, and we need them bad. He went out and got, a couple transfer, hit the portal up with some transfer linebackers, and that was my main concern. So I'm a little bit impressed. He's hitting the. I'm willing to give the guy a chance. Now, I've called him before and said, I wasn't too impressed with the hire, but I'm willing to give the guy a chance, just like I gave Dooley a chance. I gave Pruitt a chance.
Yep.
I gave Butch a chance until they screwed it up.
Yep.
So I'm willing to give a guy a chance. We always on board, and just let's give this guy a chance and see what he can do. Now, I ain't running around here on the hype train. I ain't doing that yet because I'm a bit of a negative Nancy. You got to prove something to me on the field. The proof's in the pudding when it's on the field. All right, that's the proof. That's where the proof of the pudding is in between them lines on Saturday. So
I think Big Orange Mac. Now, what Rusty's talking about as far as confidence, your confidence going to improve and it's going to raise once you see the results on the football field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's good
well,
stuff.
gentlemen, I'm going to get off of here and get this last day of work in.
Man.
Y'all have a good one and go Big Orange.
Hey, thank you, man. Thanks so much for the phone call. Thank you so much for the phone call. Good stuff. Yeah. I'm right there with you. Like, when Josh Heupel was hired, I was like, okay. I wasn't doing backflips, but I wasn't like, because I knew, like, the way that most people view Lane Kiffin is not how I view Lane. So, like, I wasn't disappointed that Tennessee didn't even talk to Lane. I think Lane's a great coach offensively, but he's overhyped as the head coach. And I knew that what he did here, people weren't going to bring him back. It was way too much. It's not, and a lot of that stuff ain't public. And then, as far as Hugh Freeze, like NCAA stuff, there was just no way. There was just no way it was going to happen. And the SEC publicly didn't say, no, we don't want Hugh Freeze, and that's the school's decision to make. But privately, they wasn't blessing the move. Because if they were blessing it, I think Hugh Freeze would have been up in here already in the SEC. So I just knew those wasn't realistic, options. I think your expectations is directly connected to your disappointment. And if you have high expectations and the result falls short, you're going to be highly disappointed. Because I didn't have high expectations about those two candidates, I wasn't disappointed that they were not the head coach because I just didn't think it would happen. So, like, when Heupel was hired, I was like, man, I watched him in a bowl game. Man, the dude got some experience. I mean, considering our situation, it's pretty good considering what we're in right now. This might be the best hire of a proven head coach since Johnny Majors. And it is when you stop and thought about it. So thank you for the phone call, Big Orange Mac. And again, Heupel still has to go out there and do it. The staff has to still go out there and do it. They got to do it. You got to go win games. Simple as that. Let's go back to the phones. And Mike in North Georgia. Mike, good morning.
Hey, fellas. How we doing?
What's up, Mike, man? Good to hear from you.
Hey, thank God it's Friday. Doing all right today. Hope you guys are too.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll tell you what. The first thing that came to mind for me when we started talking about getting into detail of on and off board and stuff, first thing that came to mind for me was freaking 2015 again. Arkansas right there with Alabama, lost that one, and then should have beat Oklahoma, should have beat Florida. That's the first thing that came to mind for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is oh my God, I'm done with this guy. How could I even deal with this anymore? Then we close out decently strong that year. 2016 starts all right, beat Florida. I'm back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like with a new coach, I'd say the toughest hires to get quote unquote on board with were Butch and Dooley. This one, was not what we wanted. The only thing I would change right now is that we would have talked to Chadwell. Now, I don't know why we didn't do that, but I'm not going to hold that against the admin, because they're new as well. And
we talked to Chadwell.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, it's not public, but I'll tell you.
It is now.
I tell you, it is now. But we talked to him.
Okay. Well, and even that makes me feel a little bit better with the admin if we at least visited, Chadwell. But I feel like Dooley and Butch were the hardest ones to get on board with, just because of Dooley being, probably the most unknown, and then Butch being our 17th option at the time. But like everybody said, Heupel is like the most proven that we've had since majors. And I can think back when we first hired him. I thought back to like Oklahoma, not long after he stopped playing, when he was an assistant there, how fast their offenses were. And I'm like, man, if we can bring some version of that to Tennessee, I would be down.
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
Yep. It goes back to those results. You got to get those results, man. You look at what he's done. He's actually coming in with more accolades, except for being a championship coordinator. But the knock on Peru was, look at all that talent at Florida State. Look at all that talent you had at Alabama. But we've seen him, coordinate real good offenses. But 3 years he was a head coach. So and pretty good record as a head coach. So he's done it before. He hasn't done it at this level yet. So the next thing for him is just going out winning games. But I think every move that he's made so far has been really good. No coach has done more to connect former players to the program than any coach that I could think of.
Football wise,
in Tennessee. No coach so far has done more to connect old players and current players and connect, with the program more than any other coach. Any coach. So far, with what Heupel has done, the effort that he's put forth has been really good, man. And I hope that continues, because here soon there's going to be more distractions for him. There's going to be more things that's going to occupy his time, and he has hired people to solely do that, for him, because he understands it's important. But I'm rooting for him. I hope that he's successful. But I can see it. I can notice it, man. I can notice it. He is extending the hand out to a lot of former players, letting them know, how much they mean. And it's been something that's been long due. And other coaches have tried. They came in at the beginning and done that. But then, once the bullets start flying, once, the season started, going underway, and they kind of, they let it fall by the wayside. And then those relationships continue to be fractured. So I just hope when the season starts and, you got a player getting arrested for this, or, you lose a tough game to this team, that is still the same effort that he puts into the former players. Because I think it's important for the program to heal. So sorry to take over your call there, but I just thought about that and thought I should share. But yeah, Chadwell was talked to. Because we didn't know that at first. It was like, man, why were you talking to Jamie Chadwell? But one thing we learned about this coaching search from Danny White, it wasn't public. It's the reason why you go to a search firm. When you go to a search firm, less leaks. You won't have those leaks of who you talk to. When you don't use a search firm, people talk a whole lot, and leaks get out. All right, let's go back to the phones to get to Dave Toner. Dave Toner, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, I want to chime in a little bit on this on board or off board, on the train, off the train. I didn't really have a issue per se when they hired Heupel. I thought they possibly could have done a better job, but I think they exhausted themselves trying to. But I also know that they could have did a worse job. He's a very confident young man, and he's got some big you-know-whats to come into this train wreck knowing that there is sanctions coming, and the beast of a fan base that we have, that, you know, he's willing to be here. He wants to be here. He's willing to be thrown into the lion's den. I am pretty confident in him. You know, he did a good job at UCF. UCF is not Tennessee, but Tennessee is not UCF. So the more accessibility and money and everything else that goes along with UT, I think the man stands to do a fairly good job. As far as being on the train or off the train, I'm just going to say this, and I may be wrong. If you're listening to this show and you answer that question, you're on board. Otherwise, I love you guys to death, got nothing but respect for you and Ben. But I don't just call in to hear y'all talk. I call in to listen about Tennessee football and Tennessee sports. So if you're listening, you're pretty much on board, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it depends on, you know, what does on board mean for you? I mean, Rusty kind of shared that. I mean, you can listen to the show and, you know, still be a Tennessee fan through and through, but just not be on board with Heupel and company until they prove it. You know, I get that. I understand that. So it's not like you're not on board as a fan. It's just that you're not on board with, you know, whoever's in charge until they prove it. Now, my personality is, you know, I'm going to be on board with you because you're coaching my school until you prove me wrong. So, like, here's an example. So, you love your kids, right? At one point, your kids are going to start dating, and whether or not you like that person depends on what they do after the first time you meet them. But to not like them on the first day, they come in, they respectful to you, you know, they show manners. You shouldn't not like them on the first day. You should, you know, because you love your kid, say, hey, I'm gonna give this girl or guy an opportunity. Now, when they prove that they're scumbags and bad folks, then you have a reason not to like them. That's how I kind of look at it. I mean, you got a sister, so you can definitely identify with that. For sure, if I had a sister, I would be able to identify with that. But, like, I have young kids. My oldest is 12, so, like, soon, like, I'm going to be in that position where, like, okay, I love my kid. Do I look at this person as guilty until proven innocent, or innocent until proven guilty? Oh, I love Tennessee, and Josh Heupel, do I look at him and is he guilty until proven innocent, or is he innocent until proven guilty? I just choose to look at him as innocent until proven guilty. Now, when he messes up or do something stupid or shows that he can't be a head coach, then that's a conversation we're going to have. But for right now, I'm on board until he gives me a reason not to be. So, in event,